The night Emma almost said no was the night everything began to change, though she did not know it yet. The lake was calm, smooth like glass, and the sky held the soft colors of sunset. Emma stood near the water with her hands in her coat pockets, breathing slowly, trying to quiet the ache that lived in her chest every evening. Since moving to Willow Creek, she had built a routine around silence. Walks in the morning, work during the day, long quiet evenings alone. It kept the pain under control, or so she thought. Grief had made her careful. After losing her husband 2 years ago, she stopped trusting happiness. Joy felt temporary, like something that could disappear without warning. So she lived simply. No close friends, no invitations, no risks. It's just her and the lake. Then Daniel and Claire entered her life. The first time they spoke to her was almost nothing, just a smile and a kind greeting during one of her evening walks. Emma had nodded politely and continued walking, not thinking much about it. But the next day, they were there again. And the day after that, soon it became normal. Daniel had a calm presence. He spoke slowly, thoughtfully, like someone who truly listened. Claire was warm and bright, always smiling, always making small jokes that lightened the air. They never pushed Emma to talk. They let silence exist, and somehow that made her feel safe. Over time, Emma found herself opening up in small ways. She talked about the weather, about books she liked, about how the lake reminded her of summers from her childhood. Daniel shared stories about growing up in a busy city. Claire talked about how she dreamed of owning a small cafe one day. They never asked about her husband, not at first. But one evening, as they sat on a bench watching the sky darken, Claire gently said, "You don't have to talk about it, but I can tell you're carrying something heavy." Emma swallowed hard. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then the words came, out, soft and broken. "My husband passed away 2 years ago." Daniel's face softened with understanding. "I'm so sorry," he said quietly. Claire placed her hand near Emma's but didn't touch it. "That kind of pain changes you." Emma nodded, tears in her eyes. "I moved here because everything reminded me of him. I thought a new place would make it easier." "Did it?" Daniel asked. Emma looked at the lake. "Some days, other days, it feels just as lonely." From that night on, something shifted. Their conversations grew deeper. They talked about loss, about fear, about how life keeps moving, even when your heart wants to stop. Emma found herself looking forward to those walks. Looking forward to seeing them, it scared her. She had not let people get close in a long time, but they were gentle. They never rushed her healing. They simply stayed. Weeks passed quickly. One evening, as the air turned cool and the leaves started changing color, Claire smiled and said, "We're making dinner tomorrow night. Just something simple at our place. Would you like to come?" Emma's heart tightened. She had not been to someone's home since her husband's funeral. Being in other people's warmth felt dangerous, like opening a door she had worked hard to keep closed. "I don't want to bother you," she said quickly. "You wouldn't," Daniel replied. "We'd love to have you." Claire added softly, "You shouldn't be alone all the time, Emma." The truth stung because it was real. Emma spent that night staring at her ceiling, listening to the quiet house around her. She told herself she was fine alone, that she was protecting herself. But deep down, she was tired of the silence. So the next evening, she knocked on their door. Claire opened it with a wide smile. "You came." The smell of food filled the air. Soft music played in the background. The house felt warm, alive. Emma felt nervous at first, standing awkwardly near the door. But Daniel pulled out a chair for her, and Claire kept her talking while serving dinner. They laughed about small things, about a neighbor's noisy dog, about how Daniel always burned toast, about Claire's failed attempt at gardening. For the first time in years, Emma laughed without forcing it. The sound surprised her. As the night went on, the conversation grew quieter, more personal. Daniel asked, "Do you ever think about starting over?" Emma froze. "Not in the way people mean," she said. "I don't think you ever really start over after losing someone. You've just learned how to breathe again." Claire nodded slowly. "That's beautiful. And sad." Emma's eyes filled. "I loved him so much. We had plans, a family, a future. And then one day it was just gone." Daniel spoke gently. "Love doesn't disappear when someone leaves. It stays with you." Emma looked down at her hands. Sometimes it hurts to carry it alone. Claire reached across the table and lightly touched her fingers. "You don't have to anymore." That simple touch sent warmth through Emma's chest. After dinner, they sat in the living room with cups of tea, talking about dreams they never chased, mistakes they wished they could change, and hopes they still held quietly. Emma felt something unfamiliar rising inside her. Comfort, belonging. When it was time to leave, she stood slowly, not wanting the night to end. "Thank you," she said softly. "For tonight, I didn't realize how much I needed this." Claire hugged her gently. "You're always welcome here." Daniel smiled. "Anytime." As Emma walked home under the streetlights, her heart felt lighter than it had in years, but also confused. She missed them already. The following days were different. She smiled more. She checked the time during her walks, hoping to see them sooner. She replayed their laughter in her mind at night. The loneliness that once felt normal now felt sharp. And Daniel and Claire noticed the change. Too, they noticed how Emma stood closer during conversations. How her eyes lingered when Daniel spoke. How she reached for Claire's hand when something emotional was said. There was a growing warmth between them that none of them named. One evening while sitting by the lake again, Claire said gently, "We love having you in our lives, Emma." Daniel nodded. "You've become important to us." Emma's heart beat faster. "I feel the same," she admitted. The words hung in the air. Unspoken feelings lived between them now. Not rushed, not forced, just slowly growing. But Emma was afraid. Afraid of loving again, afraid of losing again, afraid of hope. As the sun disappeared behind the trees, she whispered, "I don't know if my heart is strong enough for new feelings." Claire smiled softly. "Hearts grow stronger after breaking." Daniel added quietly, "And sometimes love comes when you least expect it." Emma looked at them both, warmth filling her chest and fear twisting in her stomach. Something was happening, something beautiful, something dangerous. And deep down, she knew her quiet life was about to change forever. But she had no idea how far her heart would be pulled or how much love could return when she finally let it in. The days after that evening by the lake felt brighter, yet heavier at the same time. Emma woke each morning with a strange mix of excitement and fear in her chest. She looked forward to seeing Daniel and Claire, yet worried about what those feelings meant. Her heart, once quiet and closed, was beating loudly again. They met almost every day now, sometimes for coffee in the morning, sometimes for walks after work, sometimes just sitting together talking about nothing and everything. Emma found comfort in their presence. The silence between them no longer felt empty. It felt peaceful, but the emotions were growing faster than she expected. One afternoon, rain started suddenly while they were walking. Without thinking, Daniel took off his jacket and gently placed it over Emma's shoulders. Claire laughed and pulled them both under a tree for shelter. For a brief moment, they stood close, breathing the same air. Emma's heart raced. She had not felt that warmth in years. That night, she lay in bed staring at the ceiling, remembering the way Daniel looked at her with care, the way Claire's smile held understanding instead of jealousy. It confused her. It comforted her. It scared her. The next evening, they invited her over again. This time, the mood felt different, quieter, deeper. They ate dinner slowly. The room was filled with soft music and warm light. Emma noticed how Daniel's hand rested near Claire's, how natural their closeness was. It reminded her of the love she once had, steady, kind, real. After dinner, Claire poured tea while Daniel opened the window to let in the cool air. Claire finally spoke, her voice gentle but serious. "Emma, we've been thinking a lot." Emma's stomach tightened. Daniel sat across from her. "About us. About you." Emma wrapped her hands around her cup. "Okay." Claire took a slow breath. "You've brought light back into our lives, in ways we didn't expect." Daniel nodded. "And we can see you're healing too." Emma's eyes filled. "I am, because of you." Silence settled again. Claire reached for Emma's hand this time and held it. "There's something we want to ask, but only if you're comfortable." Emma whispered, "What is it?" Daniel spoke carefully. "We don't want you to feel alone anymore, not just as a friend." Emma's heart pounded so loudly she thought they could hear it. Claire continued softly, "We care about you deeply. More than we planned to." Emma's breath shook. "I care about you too, but I don't understand what you're saying." Daniel leaned forward slightly. "We're saying we want you in our lives fully. To share love, support, connection." Emma's mind spun. She stood up slowly and walked toward the window, staring out into the dark street. "This isn't normal," she whispered. Claire stood as well, but kept her distance. "Neither is losing someone you love and surviving it." Emma's voice trembled. "I'm afraid so were we," Daniel said. "But love always carries fear." Tears streamed down Emma's face. "I promised myself I would never open my heart again. It hurt too much when I lost him." Claire's eyes softened. "Loving again doesn't erase the love you had. It honors it." Emma turned back toward them. "What if I lose you too?" she asked quietly. Daniel answered, "Pain is part of loving, but so is joy. And right now, we feel joy with you." Emma hugged her arms around herself. Her heart was pulling her forward while fear tried to hold her back. That night, she left without giving an answer. The walk home felt longer than ever. Her thoughts raced. She remembered lonely dinners, empty weekends, quiet holidays. Then she remembered laughter, warmth, and the way her heart felt alive again. She cried herself to sleep. The next day, she avoided the lake, but loneliness returned. Instantly, it felt sharper than before. She missed them. She missed the way they made her feel safe. By evening, she couldn't take it anymore. She walked to their house. The lights were on. Claire opened the door and froze when she saw Emma. "Emma." Daniel appeared behind her, concern on his face. Emma's voice shook. "I tried to go back to being alone. Caught. It hurts more now." Claire's eyes filled with tears. Daniel stepped aside to let her in. They sat quietly for a moment. Emma finally spoke. "I don't know what this looks like. I don't know if I'll always be brave. But I know my heart feels full with you." Claire covered her mouth, crying softly. Daniel exhaled slowly, like he had been holding his breath for days. "You're saying yes?" he asked gently. Emma nodded. Double quotes, "Yes. I'm saying I want to try. Together." Claire rushed forward and hugged her carefully, like she was something precious that could break. Daniel joined them, wrapping his arms around both of them. In that moment, Emma didn't feel fear. She felt warmth. She felt chosen. From that day on, life changed in small but meaningful ways. They cooked together, they shared stories late into the night. They supported each other through bad days. There was no rush, no pressure. Just growing trust. At Emma still had moments of sadness. Some nights she cried quietly, remembering her husband. And each time Daniel and Claire were there, holding her, reminding her she wasn't alone. Slowly, she learned that love could exist alongside grief. One didn't erase the other. It simply made life richer. Neighbors noticed how Emma smiled more now, how she walked with confidence, how laughter followed her. For the first time since her loss, she felt alive again. One evening, months later, they returned to the lake where everything began. The sunset painted the sky in gold and pink dot. Emma stood between Daniel and Claire, holding both their hands. "I never thought I could feel this again," she said softly. Claire smiled. "Neither did we," Daniel added, "but I'm glad you took the chance." Emma looked out over the water, heart full. "We persuaded each other," she whispered. And in that gentle moment, Emma realized something powerful. Love had not left her life when she lost it once. It had simply waited. Waited for healing. Waited for courage. Waited for the right hearts to meet again. And now she wasn't walking alone anymore. She was walking forward with hope, with connection, and with a love that felt strong enough to last.